In the heart of Baghdad, there once stood a library. But it wasn't just a library, a place called Bayt al-Hikma, the House of Wisdom. But it was more than just a place. It was a living mind, pulsing with knowledge, a place where humans wrote thoughts far deeper than their time. It wasn't a center for books, but a revolution of ideas. Within its walls, knowledge wasn't repeated. It was rewritten. It was founded during the reign of Harun al-Rashid, and it flourished under his son, al-Mamun. Here, the greatest minds from East and West came together, scholars from Persia, India, Byzantium, all under one roof. Translators, astronomers, mathematicians, physicians, wrote history in a different tongue. Greek texts were translated, but not blindly. They were studied, challenged, reimagined. Here, algebra was born, and optics began to take shape. Al-Khwarizmi, Ibn al-Haytham, al-razi, al-Biruni. They all passed through here. Baghdad didn't follow knowledge, it produced it. It didn't ask, what did the ancients say? It asked, what did they miss? The city was thinking, and the world was changing through its deep silence. In the House of Wisdom, questions weren't forbidden, they were sacred. Books weren't holy, they were the beginning of a conversation. The mind was the tool, experimentation the path. Al-Razi described surgical instruments. Al-Khwarizmi laid the foundations of the equation. Ibn al-Haytham proved that the eye sees through reflected light, not light it emits. These weren't just theories. They were revolutions, and al-Mamun was the keeper of the fire that never died. He paid for every translated book, in gold by weight, but he wanted more than translation. He wanted understanding, refinement, transcendence. He built his own observatory and launched a project to map the world with precision. They charted the heavens as if they had known them since creation. Baghdad wasn't imitating Athens. It was surpassing it. Science was not a privilege of the elite. It was the language of the city. The library was open, the laboratories alive. They made mistakes, corrected them, and taught what they had learned. There was no fear of error, only fear of stagnation, because in the House of Wisdom, failure was part of the path to truth, and disagreement wasn't tolerated, it was needed for minds that never collide, never create. But what exactly did the House of Wisdom hold? Texts from India that spoke of gravity centuries before Newton, ancient sea charts pointing to lands yet undiscovered, astronomical instruments resembling mechanical computers, spherical models that mapped the planets with stunning accuracy, books on chemistry hinting at rust-proof metals, medical recipes for diseases only understood centuries later, studies on sound, light, and color beyond their time. It wasn't a library. It was a bank of human thought. Some books were written in scripts we still can't decipher. Others were never translated and vanished unread. There was even a hall for forbidden books, not burned, but preserved, carefully considered dangerous, not wrong. What was mysterious wasn't rejected, but studied with curiosity. Since when is the mind something to be burned? The House of Wisdom didn't fear the unknown. It opened the doors to it because it believed the mind should never be chained by fear. It should be released into the dark, to return with answers or greater questions. Then came the Black Day, a day when the lights weren't turned off, they were smothered. In 1258, the Mongols invaded Baghdad. Led by Hulagu, they made no distinction between people and books. Everything was a target. Markets burned, homes crumbled, souls were crushed, and the House of Wisdom was the prime target. It was as if they knew to kill the mind was to end civilization. It wasn't looted, it was destroyed. Thousands of books were thrown into the Tigris River. They say the river turned black with ink, then red with blood. The Tigris flowed as if carrying corpses made of ink, heavy, dark, unable to reflect the sun. Soldiers scooped water and pulled out horror. Baghdad was dying, But the sound of burning paper was louder than the screams of people. Not only books burned, but the minds that wrote them, ideas born ahead of their time. With no one left to carry them, the house of wisdom wasn't closed. It was exiled from memory. No maps were saved. No instruments. Not even a catalog, as if something so vast never existed at all, but the silence that followed still screams, because the fall of Baghdad was not the fall of a city. It was the fall of memory. What did the world lose in 1258? No one knows. And no one ever will, because what was burned was never copied. What wasn't copied wasn't read, and what wasn't read can never be understood. There may have been ideas that could have shortened centuries of wandering, and maybe, somewhere in those pages, something that could have changed everything, but we never read it. The House of Wisdom wasn't a building. It was a living human intellect, and when it burned, something inside us burned with it. What remains are traces, whispers, dust, no images, no blueprints, no remnants, only one haunting question. If this video stirred something inside you, subscribe to the channel.